The Celtics are going to be forced into an impossible decision this season, as they have already made so many moves to free up cap space, but now they got to make a decision on their first-round pick from last year, Baylor Scheierman. We get you the latest right here on Celtics Digest. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Real quickly, want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. And of course, we're trying to build a Celtics community here on YouTube. We want you to be a part of it, plus content daily on your favorite Boston team. We promise you're not going to regret hitting that subscribe button. The Boston Celtics have made a lot of difficult decisions this offseason, from trading Kristaps Porziņģis and trading Jrue Holiday. However, that was kind of expected. I mean, it hurt to see our championship team kind of be taken down to the point that it is right now, just a year removed. Obviously, that includes having a Tatum injury, and there's other external factors that we couldn't really control. Luke Kornet leaving in free agency was also a big thing that I didn't like to see. Neemias Queta, I think, is going to be a good part at that center. The Celtics seem to like him. I really do think that there's a lot for him to show. But either way, there is a bit of a debate going on whether or not this is a gap year for the Celtics. I would call it more of a retooling year. And with that being said, you need to be able to use your young players in the right way and mold them so that when Jayson Tatum does come back, you have a team that is ready to be a championship caliber team when he is there. With that being said, I talk about some of these younger players, and the Celtics have an interesting/difficult decision to make here on last year's first-round pick, Baylor Scheierman. Now, Baylor did not see a lot of action last year, and in the action that he did see, he didn't exactly look fantastic, at least for a first-round pick. Now, yes, he was literally pick 30, but at the same time, I still expect as an NBA player, especially in the summer league that we saw him, to look a little bit better. That's what we're going to talk about today and the decision that the Celtics have coming up with him. We go to a report here. I'm going to mess up this name. Estathos Savidas of Fansided saying, quote, "Since the Celtics lost 5 of their top 8 contributors, they won't be championship caliber team that we've seen in the past 4 seasons. This season is a retooling year for them, where they'll play the younger guys and decide which players they'll keep once Tatum returns," end quote. Now, there was a lot of young players on this team that whether or not the Celtics want to keep them or not is a bit of a question mark. Some of them, they're just going to be free agents. Some of them, they're going to, you can trade them, whatever. For Baylor Scheierman, though, it's a different case scenario. You see, he has a third-year option coming up, and the Celtics have until October 31st to decide whether or not they want to accept that and keep him on, or if they'd rather make this the last season for him. There is a debate whether the Celtics should accept that, or if the play that they have seen, especially from a first-round pick, is not worthy of, 1, the money next season, 2, the roster spot is probably the bigger thing. The money's very, very small. If you look at his stats from last year, nothing off the board pops. 3.6 points per game, a half a steal, his rebounding, 2.1. I know he's technically a guard, and I understand that the rebounding is not going to be as high as you would think, especially given he's 6'6", but I would like to see that number a little bit higher than 2.1 per game. Again, he's not playing a lot. His assist numbers at 1.1, we have a pretty good theory to see that will improve from his summer league play, but he's kind of an interesting position right now. Right now, he's listed as the third shooting guard behind Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons. Technically, they have him in that small forward rotation as well. There's not really a huge inclination as whether he'll play one or the other more. I'd have to think shooting guard. I mean, I think right now they're pretty content with playing JB at that small forward position while Tatum's out. But at the same time, I think the Celtics, especially with the way that their team is kind of set up, they're going to be a pretty high rotational team where you're going to see Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard rotate in that point in shooting guard. You're going to see Jaylen Brown go into that shooting guard role every now and then and become the ball handler down the court at times. So I think there's times where Baylor Scheierman can be I'm not going to say prolific force, but can come in and have some valuable minutes. And obviously the stats weren't there. But when he did see an increased role, it was a lot better. Once again, we go back to the report in which they say, quote, he did see an increase in his minutes in March as the team started to rest Brown and Tatum. In his last 16 regular season games, Baylor Scheierman averaged 6.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, shooting 37.3 from 3 in 18.4 minutes per game. So Two ways to look at this. Obviously, that believes that he's going to be better with a more enhanced role. That is a very good thing. More minutes means more production, means better stats. The other way you look at it is if those were his stats through his last 16 games, what in the world were his stats in the first 60-something games that we saw? I mean, that is a little bit of a scary thought to think about. We've seen him since, and we've gotten to kind of go back and really look at these game logs and kind of watch what exactly is going on with his play. And a couple of his best games came in March. You go back to the 18th of March, you have 20 points in that Brooklyn game on that March 18th. But I almost think that if you go back to his more complete and whole game, you go to the Monday game in Sacramento, in which that was played on March 24th. He had 28 minutes, and he had 9 points and 7 rebounds, which, again, I understand he's a guard. I understand he'll play guard, small forward. I want to see more rebounding when you're 6'6" and playing in a rotation that the Celtics have. I think it'd be a lot more useful to have him as a potential rebounding force. I mean, let him drive in there. Let him get the ball and work inside, because he's going to be right up there with a lot of the guys down low as well. I know there are some tall guys, but he was a pretty decent rebounder in Creighton as well, so I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But I mentioned we saw more of him. We got to look back at the game roll. We also saw him in the Summer League and kind of saw what exactly was the plan for him, at least from Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens. Quote, "We got to see a glimpse of the role Baylor Scheierman would play this upcoming season in Summer League, where he was used as a facilitator, averaging 6.8 assists. And although he was great at setting up his teammates, Scheierman's summer play was disappointing as many expected him to take a big leap." End quote. Now, 6.8 assists is great, especially going from 1.1, but again, it is the Summer League, and for a first-round pick, you should be dominating the Summer League in a lot of ways. That's where the concerning factor comes in. We go to his shooting totals, and it is not a sight for sore eyes. Quote, "This is mainly because his shooting numbers were horrendous, averaging 12.3 points on 27.4% shooting from the field and 20.5% shooting from three." Some people like to say that the Summer League, especially for a first-round pick in her second year, is a difficult place to play. The arena's awkward. There's a depth perception issue to some people. Put excuses aside, if you are an NBA caliber player in the Summer League, you should not be shooting 27% from the field, much less 20% from the from behind the three-point arch. 12.3 points isn't terrible. I don't want to say that that's not, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. I just wish we would have seen a little bit more. And so the question becomes for the Celtics with the October 31st deadline, do you keep him? Do you risk the roster spot and the little bit of money that you have attached to him over that next third year? Or is it not worth it? And so I know the Celtics have this decision to make, but I'm kind of curious from your point of view, should the Celtics accept Baylor's third-year option for next year? Why for yes, in for no? Let me know down in the comments section. Personally, I'm a full yes. I can sit here and say that he hasn't looked good. I can sit here and say that it wouldn't be a great use of a roster spot, but at the same time, the money is not that much. It seems like the Celtics have a pretty solid plan as to how they're going to use him. I mean, even going further into that facilitator role, we have a quote once again from FanSides where it says, "Heading into the season, Joe Mazzulla will likely put him in a facilitator role similar to Tatum and have him in the corner in catch-and-shoot situations. Scheierman, who'll turn 25 in September, will play a crucial role off the bench this season and must display his progression in all areas of his game." The third-year option is an extra year. It's not like you're signing him to a 3-year deal or whatever. If he can improve on the things that we have talked about in this video, / see him in that facilitator role, I think it would be a very nice weapon to have for when Jayson Tatum comes back, because especially if you decide that he's ready to go this season and you want to bring him back for a potential playoff push, you have a guy who can come in and play that Jayson Tatum role and not have to, feel uncomfortable with it. You can make sure that you don't have to force Jayson Tatum to be playing, these 38 minutes per game and all that. You can have Scheierman kind of be in there and help him out if he can play that facilitator role that is somewhat being shown by Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens. So I do think the third-year option is, I'm not going to say a risk, but it's somewhat of an unfortunate truth that you have to accept, and you don't know what's going to happen this season. And if he stinks this year, then It's one more year, and I don't think you're going to keep him after that. But it's a really tough thing when there was a lot of hype around him, and I think that in a lot of ways, when he was drafted, the Celtics were labeled as that was a steal for them, and it just hasn't worked out. Now, we get to see him in a more fitting role and a larger role this season, so still got to keep the book out there on them, but I do think that it is a very key year for him, and we'll see. Maybe the Celtics decide that a third-year option isn't worth it. They're trying to build this team to be a championship contender next season, and he's not a part of that equation. We'll find out here in like a month, 2 months' time. We appreciate every single one of you joining us here on Celtics Digest. I want to make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said, 100% free. If you made it to the end of the video, you are enjoying this content, so go down there. But for now, we'll see you next time here on Celtics Digest. Peace out, guys.